Aphton. How are you?
Hi, doing great.
I loved 20 something. It was super relatable. Like, as soon as I saw what the concept was, I was like, yes, that is me. So I know, of course, it's like a personal story, but what was it that inspired the literal three children in a jacket?
I knew I wanted to portray this idea of adulting and what it feels like to be a kid in an adult setting. And it got down to three kids through a bunch of different trial and error, and basically me trying to figure out what were the most pivotal ages in which I felt some of these, that I can remember that felt like I see manifest in me on a day-to-day basis. And so I always knew as a teen, because I still feel like there's a lot of teen angst bubbling at the surface of trying to hide adulthood and just, being more snappy than you want to be or being sassy. And it's like, oh, there's the 16-year-old again. And so that was one age that I was pretty rock solid on from the start. And then trying to find the other two ages became a fun adventure, and eventually just wanting the entertainment and humor of a 1-year-old and just the primal instincts of just wanting things felt like a really fun thing to play around with. And then lastly, 10, I tried to go for an elementary age where you felt like you had life figured out, like things were pretty straightforward and you knew what you wanted. So that was the basis behind the three of them that I finally distilled down to.
I love that it feels like it's like a fluid transition from one to the other, and at the same time, you are different people at those ages. So that was great. Now you did animation for Soul, which another movie that is incredible. So wonderful, good job. But what was it like to jump from one part of the process to now you're getting to man this whole operation?
Yeah. So I actually did story on Soul, just to clarify.
Sorry. Story on Soul.
No problem. And so story on Soul is a bit more at the beginning-ish, early beginning-ish. And so it's helping the director come up with ideas and boarding them out. And so being a director, this is my first time being at the very beginning and seeing the writing, having to come up with writing out a script and then boarding at the same time, which is fun to do my job and try to do this other job at the same time. And then afterwards, that's usually when I leave. So it was so fun to get a chance to stick around and see animators come and breathe life into these boards that I had drawn. And it's like, oh, it's becoming a movie, and seeing layout and character design. It was just fun to finally see the rest of it and watch it become a movie instead of just, a bunch of my ideas that I screamed out.
So you do like the storyboard. So you do the initial drawing.
Yes.
What is that collaboration process then with like animators? Like how protective are you of your baby when you're seeing what your vision is turning into?
Oh, well, for me, as a story artist, you get this, it's the director's baby. So you're kind of like detached in that way where it's like, well, some part of it will end up somewhat on screen and maybe that was helpful when I became a director, because I had my boards, I knew what I wanted. And then you leave room, I think, for the animators to ad lib and put some of their self into it. So I'd love kicking them off on, everyone got some seconds, how many seconds they're going to animate, leaving and coming back and just pressing play and just being surprised by what they added. And there's one thing that seems so obvious now, where Nicole is looking on the dance floor for Gia, and she sees Gia and she's moving around all crazy and it looks like she's dancing.
Right.
That was not my idea. I had boarded that, and she's like, Gia looking around, she sees her moving weird and she's like, whoa, why is she moving weird? I didn't think of it as like a weird dance. That's what the animator brought to it. And it was like, oh, duh, that's so much better. So it's like a nice marriage where it's like they take it and they plus it a little more and add even more humor than maybe what I even had initially thought of.
Yeah, I love that. Just adding on to what is already a good idea and then making it even better. It's perfect. Also, I love the voice, like the vocal performance of it. I think the other one didn't have as much dialogue, so then I was expecting this to be the same. And I was like, oh no, they're talking to each other. So what were you looking for when you cast the many stages of your life?
Yeah, so that was a fun thing to try and cast, to have them sound like they could be the same person without them sounding exactly like the same person, so because it would get confusing. And Oh my gosh, sitting down and listening to all these little girls' voices was probably the highlight of my career. Just hearing all these cute girls and then having to narrow it down. And I was like, oh, can we just cast all of them? They're all so cute. But looking for the right age, because there are some kids that they're like, Afton, they clearly sound too young. You just like them because they're cute. They're like, ah. So just trying to find that perfect, like, believable 10-year-old age where they, their voice is still very high, but they do sound like they can handle themselves to some degree was one of the things I was looking for. And for 16, I was just like, attitude. I just need some attitude, as much attitude as possible. And I would like direct her and I was like, when you're getting mad at your sister, and she just like brought all the sass and it was
I love that. The other thing that was perfect was the song selection, or just like the music in the piece really gave it life. It really made me feel like I was there in the moment. And I was even there, like in the credits, like, yes, let's keep playing this song. So how were the songs chosen and how involved were you in that process? Was that like all your choice or were there others coming in?
So for the first two pieces, we went with audio that we could use. That was, we're going for a feeling of the music coming from the club itself. I didn't want it to feel like score, soundtrack music. I wanted to feel part of the environment. So as she goes into the club, it gets like louder, and when they're in the bathroom, it's muffled. And then for that last piece, I did want that to be more soundtrack feeling because I wanted it to feel like, she has come through this growth experience and is on the other side better and more excited. And so we were looking around for a local artist. And because in the spirit of the Spark Short process, we're giving people opportunities who haven't had a chance to before. We're like, it would be really great if we could get a local artist to be on this. Yeah. And that was actually Eric, my producer, and Amira, my editor, who they both came up with that idea. And I was like, I love that. And so we just went to work throwing out on email, like, does anyone know of some local artists that would be great to incorporate? And out of that, we found Astu, and she composed this beautiful song that is the end credit.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Speaking of the Spark Shorts process, what would you say is the thing that the lesson that stuck with you most through this process?
To me, I think I already knew this, but now I really know just how talented everyone is at Pixar. And people we were assigning were doing their jobs for the first time. And so there's a bit of a learning curve, but people are really good when given the opportunity to just shine and grow past their job description. And it was so fun to see these people do really amazing work on this.
It's wonderful. Well, I think that the process is great. Like, I love that concept of giving people new opportunities and hopefully opening new doors for them. And this end result was also fabulous. So congratulations. Thank you so much.